Last time we began our exploration of intuition. We talked about it as that inner knowing that arises without conscious reasoning. Those moments when you say to yourself, I don't know how I know, I just do. So today let's build on that foundation. Welcome to Evolving Humans. I'm your host, Julia Marie, and this podcast is for visionary people like you who are exploring the true nature of reality and want to contribute to the global awakening. You seek to deepen the connection to your multidimensional self so that you can live a more conscious life. How does this inner guidance system, your IGS I call it, actually work under the surface? What's happening in your mind and body when you just know? And most importantly, how can you not only recognize those intuitive nudges, but actively cultivate and expand their role in your everyday life and the choices you make, both big and small? We often think of knowing as what happens in the front of our head, clear, logical thoughts, pros and cons lists, internal conversations with ourselves. But behind the scenes, there's a massive processing center running all the time. It's your subconscious mind. I talked about this in our last episode, but here's a quick recap for you. Your subconscious is taking in far more data than your conscious mind can handle in any given second. Tone of voice, micro-expressions, body language, past memories, smells, environmental cues, learned knowledge you forgot you even had. It's like a supercomputer quietly crunching numbers in the background. And an intuitive hit is often the result of all that processing. Don't forget, this happens lightning fast. You don't get to see the step-by-step calculations, you just suddenly have a sense, this isn't quite right, or I need to say yes to this. You're not making it up. You're receiving the end result of a massive inner data analysis, just delivered to you in a different language. And also, remember, your brain is a pattern recognition machine. Every conversation you've had, every mistake you've made, every success, every book you've read, every person you've met, your brain has been storing all of it, but it's not organized like a neat filing cabinet. I'd rather liken it to a huge web of associations that are connected, but you may not consciously recognize how. When something new shows up, a situation, a person, an opportunity, your subconscious instantly starts matching it. What does this feel like? Have I seen something like this before? What tends to happen when this pattern appears? Intuition often arises when your subconscious identifies a pattern or a likely outcome before your conscious mind can logically piece it together. Here's an example for you. You walk into a job interview and within seconds have a sense, this environment is not for me, even though you can't articulate why yet. It may take hours or days for your rational mind to catch up and let you know, oh, that's why I felt off. That gap, that space where you knew but couldn't yet explain, that's where your invitation lives. Now this is important. Intuition doesn't just show up in your thoughts, it also shows up in your body. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for safety, opportunity, resonance, and threat. It often reacts before your mind does. Some common ways this might show up is when you get a knot in your stomach when something is off, or a sense of lightness or expansion when something feels right, or chills, goosebumps when something is deeply true for you. You might get a tight chest, a shallow breath, or your jaw clenches up. Or conversely, you exhale kind of with relief, or your shoulders drop. These are some of the ways that your body can register intuitive data. And remember, the body often registers this data first. The mind then scrambles to interpret it, and sometimes to override it, and this is probably our biggest problem area. We're going to keep coming back to this idea that your body is not betraying you. It's speaking to you. Intuition doesn't usually show up as a neatly formatted statement in your head. So remember that as well. It tends to speak in feelings like a sudden sense of peace, dread, excitement, or wrongness, or images like a flash of a place or a person or a symbol. Symbols themselves, maybe you keep seeing the same image or metaphor when you think about something. Or you get a sudden urge, call this person, turn left here, don't send that email just yet. Or you may have quiet knowings, which is like a simple, stable, inner yes or no feeling. If you've been dismissing these because they don't sound like logic, here's an invitation for you. Maybe reconsider these things. And remember, intuition is a form of intelligence. It's just using a different alphabet than you're used to. Now let's talk about how this inner guidance system, or IGS, actually wants to guide you. The places that it's most useful. From major turning points to tiny everyday choices, intuition can offer a kind of quick, holistic assessment of a situation. Do I take this job or not? Do I move to this city? Do I say yes to this collaboration? Or even, which grocery line do I get in? Now that last one, which grocery line do I get in, is a great one to use in your waking life to practice your intuition. Before you join a line in the grocery, take a moment to pause, take a breath, center yourself, and see if you can feel yourself being drawn to one line over another. Then go stand in it. The results will tell you whether that was a true intuitive hit or not. Logic is great at analyzing pieces one by one. Intuition is more like a wide-angle lens. It takes the whole field into account and gives you a felt sense of this way or not this. It won't always give you the why right away, but it often gives a clear directional nudge, and that can help in your decision-making process. And when you have a problem to solve, well, it can be an asset here as well. You know those moments when you've been thinking and thinking about a problem and then you step away, go for a walk or take a shower, and suddenly the answer just appears in your mind? That's your intuitive processing at work. When your logical mind relaxes, your deeper intelligence can hand you a solution that's more creative, more out of the box, than anything you could have forced. So when logic hits a wall, intuition often steps in through flashes of insight, new angles, or seemingly random ideas that end up being exactly what was needed in that moment. Now, intuition can also help in your interpersonal relationships too. We're all familiar with this one. You get a feel for whether someone is trustworthy long before you have evidence to support that feeling. Or you sense the mood of a room as soon as you walk in. Maybe it's you somehow know when to speak, when to stay quiet, or when to change the subject. Or perhaps you pick up on tension even if everyone's smiling at each other. Your intuition helps you to read unspoken dynamics. It helps you tune into not just what's being said, but how it's being said, and maybe more importantly, what's not being said. Used consciously, this can deepen empathy, improve communication, and help you set healthier boundaries. Intuition is often quietly steering you toward what nourishes you and away from what drains you, even when your mind is rationalizing or ignoring. It shows up in different ways, like that subtle dread before a commitment you should want, the tiny spark of joy about a hobby or a class or maybe a trip you're planning, the sense that a certain food, substance, or habit just isn't good for you anymore, or the internal resistance every time you think about a certain environment. Often your intuition is ahead of your conscious understanding. You might feel pulled towards something long before you know why. Or you might feel done with something, even if on paper it looks fine. Part of our work is learning to honor that signal. Now let's get really practical. You already have an IGS, inner guidance system. The question is, how can you give it a bigger role? How do you make sure you're actually listening to your intuition? Here are several practices you can experiment with. I say try them all, so you can determine which ones work best for you. The first, cultivate stillness. Don't forget, intuition is a quiet voice. It's not usually the one shouting in your head. We have to create conditions where that subtle signal can be heard. That might look like a few minutes of meditation, nothing fancy, just sitting and noticing your breath moving in and out of your body. Or a slow walk in nature without headphones or your screen. Perhaps it's a quiet moment in the morning with your coffee before your phone, before you open that first email, or maybe it's just simply pausing and taking 3 slow breaths before responding to something or someone. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing with your life. It means creating small pockets where your nervous system isn't flooded, so your deeper knowing has room to cut through the noise of everyday life. The second thing you might want to experiment with we'll call mindful body awareness. Because your body is one of the primary receivers of intuitive information, learning its language is key. What does my gut say about this offer, you might ask yourself? Or when I imagine saying yes to this, do I feel expansive or contracted? Does my breath deepen or tighten when I think about this person, this place, this choice? You're not looking for dramatic signs. Often the shift is very subtle. It's a slight easing, or a softening, or a quiet clench that you usually ignore. Start treating those signals as meaningful data, not random noise. And you've heard me say this more than once. Write it down in your journal. All these data points can help you understand better how your intuition works. Third, ask clear questions. Your intuition responds well to clarity. Before making a decision, try mentally or even out loud. to ask a simple, direct question. Is this opportunity aligned for me right now? What do I most need to pay attention to here? Is this a yes, a no, or a not yet? Then pause and take a breath. Notice the first feeling, image, word, or body sensation that arises. And the key here, notice before your mind jumps in with judgment or debate. You want to catch that very first whisper. You don't have to blindly obey that whisper. Just start by acknowledging it. The fourth is what I like to call testing and trusting, and you're going to start with low-stakes situations first. Because trust grows through experience, not theory. And a low-stakes situation is one where it doesn't matter which way, it's kind of like no harm, no foul. So maybe start with things like, which route should I take home today? What restaurant should I choose? Who should I text first? Should I sit by the window or in the back? If you get an intuitive nudge like, park here, go left instead of right, try that coffee shop. Just follow that nudge and see what happens. You're not looking for magical outcomes. The point is to feel what it's like to listen, watch how the signal shows up, and build a sense of relationship and reliability with your intuition. Like anything else, the more we practice something, the better we get at it. And the fifth thing, you've heard me tell you this before, journal it. This can be a powerful way to create a dialogue with your inner wisdom. You might try things like writing down your intuitive hits as they happen, even the little ones. Noting what you felt in your body, what you sensed, and the choice you made. And maybe add what actually happened after you made that choice. All of that data is important. Over time, you're going to start to notice patterns. For example, when my chest feels this way, it usually means I need to slow down. When I get this kind of steady feeling, things tend to work out well, or maybe when I override this particular knot in my stomach, I often regret it later. Your journal becomes a record of how your intuition speaks to you. The next thing that I would encourage you to do is to learn to embrace uncertainty. One of the biggest blocks to our intuition is our craving for certainty. The logical mind loves guarantees. Intuition, on the other hand, doesn't usually work that way. It's more like this is the next right step. And there's not going to be a 5-year plan attached to that. It's why I tell my students there are only 2 questions I ever ask. What do I need to know? And more importantly, what do I need to do next? Intuition flourishes when we're willing to lean into the unknown a little bit, to trust that guidance often arrives step by step, not all at once. So that might mean you act on a gentle nudge without knowing exactly where it's going to lead you. Or maybe you allow some space in your schedule or your life for something new to emerge. Or you learn to be okay with, I don't know yet, but I sense I need to go this way. You're building a relationship with the process, not just chasing a guaranteed outcome. Over time, you'll learn to trust that process. And finally, it's important for you to limit overanalysis. Logic absolutely has its place. We need it. Intuition isn't here to replace your thinking process, it's here to complement it. But constant overthinking can drown out that subtle voice. You know that experience where you've gone over something 100 times and you're actually less clear than when you started thinking about it? that's often a sign you're in what I like to call a logic loop. In those moments, try intentionally pausing and checking in. And tell yourself, okay, I've thought this through. Now what does my intuition say? Maybe close your eyes, put a hand on your heart or your belly, and take a slow, deep breath and notice what arises in your awareness. You may not get an immediate thunderbolt of clarity, but even noticing, wow, my body's really tense every time I think about saying yes to this, can be valuable information. I want to offer you a few questions to contemplate when you have a moment of quiet, or just hold them in the back of your mind as you move through your week. In what area of your life do you currently feel the most disconnected from your intuition? And what might be blocking it there? Is it fear, busyness, overthinking, external pressure? How does your body typically communicate intuitive messages to you? Think about some real examples. Is it a knot in your stomach, a warm feeling in your chest, a shiver, a sense of heaviness or lightness? And what's one small, low-stakes decision you can practice using your intuition for this week? Choose something where the outcome doesn't really matter, but the practice does. You don't need to answer these questions precisely. Allow them to invite a little more curiosity. Now, before we wrap up, I'll give you a couple of intuitive practices you can start exploring as soon as today. First, for making any decision, big or small, try this. Pause just for a moment. Close your eyes if it's safe to do so and take a slow, deep breath into your belly and ask yourself, what does my intuition tell me about this? Then pay attention to the very first feeling, image, word, or body sensation that arises. Don't analyze it. Don't argue with it. Just notice it. You can still make whatever choice you want, but by doing this, you're starting to include that inner voice in the conversation. And here's another one for you. In the morning, before the day fully starts, take a minute, even just 60 seconds. Place a hand on your heart or your belly and ask your intuition, what guidance do I need for today? Or what should I focus on today? And see what arises. Maybe it's a word like rest or courage or listen. Maybe you get an image or a person pops into your mind. Jot down anything that comes up and treat it as a gentle theme for your day, not as a rule, but as a guide. I know we covered a lot of ground today, and as we come to the close of this episode, here are some takeaways for you. Intuition is not something you have to go out and acquire. It's not reserved for the gifted or the spiritual or the special. You already have this skill set. It's always available and always working, whether you're listening to it or not. Your job isn't to create intuition. Your job is to cultivate your relationship with it, to learn the language your intuition speaks, to notice how it speaks through your body, your emotions, your images, your quiet thoughts, to trust its whispers enough to at least consider them, and over time, to let this inner guidance system become a more prominent, powerful part of your life. In our next episode, we're going to dive into a really fascinating distinction between intuition and instinct. Are they two sides of the same coin, or are they completely different pathways to knowing? How do you tell them apart? How do they work together? Until then, maybe just try that simple intuitive check-in. Pause, breathe, and ask, what does my intuition tell me about this? And when you get the answer, follow through and see what happens. Well, that's our time for today. If you found value in this episode, please share it with 2 other people so that together we can bring more light to this world. If you need guidance about a current life situation, want to reconnect with your people living on the other side of life, or are looking for energy healing, please go to my website at juliamarie.us and click the Book Now button on the homepage. And remember, awareness will improve your intuitive connection.